The Hopi people, one of the most ancient Native American tribes, primarily inhabit the southwestern region of the United States, particularly in the high desert lands of northeastern Arizona. They are one of the Puebloan groups, known for their strong connection to their land, rich cultural traditions, and their ability to thrive in an often harsh and arid environment. Among the defining features of their geographic location is the San Francisco Peaks, a mountain range sacred to the Hopi, which plays a central role in their spiritual and cultural life. The Hopi Reservation, which spans approximately 2,500 square miles, is located on a high plateau in northeastern Arizona. This region is part of the larger Colorado Plateau, which is known for its unique geological formations, including mesas, canyons, and high desert plains. The Hopi people primarily live in 12 villages located on or near three mesas, known as First Mesa, Second Mesa, and Third Mesa. Each of these mesas is characterized by steep rock formations and expansive views of the surrounding desert landscape. The villages are traditionally situated on top of the mesas, providing both strategic defense advantages and a closer connection to the sky, which is significant in Hopi spiritual beliefs. The San Francisco Peaks, located to the west of the Hopi lands, are particularly significant. This mountain range, which rises to over 12,000 feet at its highest peak, is the tallest in Arizona and is considered sacred by several Native American tribes, including the Hopi. Known as Nuvatukeovi in the Hopi language, the San Francisco Peaks are believed to be the home of the Kachina spirits, who play a central role in Hopi religious ceremonies. These spirits are considered intermediaries between humans and the gods, bringing rain and fertility to the land. The Hopi believe that their prayers and rituals are essential to maintaining harmony and balance in the world, and the San Francisco Peaks serve as a powerful symbol of this connection between the Hopi people, nature, and the divine. The Hopi homeland is located in a region that is characterized by a semi-arid climate with long, hot summers and cold winters. The area receives relatively little rainfall, averaging only about 10 to 12 inches per year, which poses significant challenges for agriculture and daily life. Despite these challenges, the Hopi people have adapted to their environment over thousands of years, developing sophisticated methods of dry farming that allow them to grow crops such as corn, beans, and squash in the harsh desert climate. Corn, in particular, is central to Hopi culture and spirituality, symbolizing life, sustenance, and the cycle of birth and rebirth. The land itself is a mix of rugged desert terrain and vast stretches of open space, punctuated by dramatic geological features such as mesas, buttes, and canyons. The high desert plains are dotted with sagebrush, piñon pines, and juniper trees, while the mesas provide a striking contrast with their sheer cliffs and flat tops. The landscape is also home to a variety of wildlife, including coyotes, jackrabbits, and various species of birds, all of which play a role in the natural balance of the region. For the Hopi people, the land is not merely a place to live, but a sacred entity that is deeply intertwined with their religious and cultural practices. The Hopi believe that their ancestors emerged into this world from a previous world through a place called Sipapuni, located in the Grand Canyon. This emergence story is central to Hopi cosmology, and it reflects the deep spiritual connection the Hopi have with the land. According to Hopi belief, the earth is a living being, and all elements of nature, plants, animals, mountains, and rivers, are imbued with spiritual significance. This connection to the land is reflected in the Hopi way of life, which is centered around agriculture and the seasons. The Hopi people have developed a deep understanding of their environment, using traditional knowledge passed down through generations to cultivate crops in the dry desert soil. They practice dry farming techniques, relying on the natural contours of the land and the minimal rainfall to sustain their crops. The Hopi also perform ceremonial dances and rituals to honor the spirits of nature and to ensure the fertility of the land. One of the most remarkable aspects of Hopi culture is their ability to adapt to the arid environment of the Southwest. The Hopi have a long history of living in harmony with their surroundings, developing sustainable practices that allow them to thrive in a region with limited water and resources. Their agricultural methods, which include planting crops in the sand dunes to capture moisture, demonstrate a deep understanding of the land and its unique challenges. The Hopi also use the natural materials of the region to build their homes and create their art. Traditional Hopi dwellings, known as pueblos, are made from adobe, a mixture of mud and straw that is baked in the sun to create durable, heat-resistant bricks. These pueblos are often built into the sides of mesas or on top of them, taking advantage of the natural landscape to provide shelter from the harsh desert sun and cold winter winds. In addition to their practical adaptations, the Hopi have developed a rich spiritual and cultural tradition that is rooted in their relationship with the land. The Hopi calendar is based on the cycles of the seasons, and many of their religious ceremonies are tied to agricultural events, such as planting and harvesting. These ceremonies are not only a way to ensure the success of their crops, but also a means of maintaining balance and harmony in the world. The Hopi believe that by living in accordance with the natural world and honoring the spirits of the land, they can help to maintain the delicate balance of life in the desert. In recent years, the Hopi people have faced a number of challenges related to the preservation of their land and culture. The expansion of nearby towns and cities, as well as the development of natural resources, such as coal and water, has put pressure on the Hopi reservation. The Hopi have been involved in legal battles to protect their land from encroachment and to ensure that their water rights are respected. In addition, climate change has brought new challenges, with increasing temperatures and changing weather patterns threatening the delicate balance of the desert ecosystem. Despite these challenges, the Hopi people continue to maintain their strong connection to the land and their cultural traditions. Efforts to preserve the Hopi language and traditional ways of life are ongoing, with many Hopi elders passing down their knowledge to younger generations through storytelling, ceremonies, and hands-on teaching. The Hopi Cultural Center, located on Second Mesa, serves as a hub for cultural preservation and education, offering visitors a glimpse into the rich history and traditions of the Hopi people. The geography of the southwestern United States, particularly the high desert lands of northeastern Arizona and the sacred San Francisco peaks, has played a central role in shaping the culture, spirituality, and way of life of the Hopi people. Despite the challenges posed by the arid climate and the modern world, the Hopi have maintained a deep connection to their land and their traditions, continuing to thrive in a region that many would consider inhospitable. Their ability to adapt to their environment, combined with their spiritual reverence for the land, has allowed the Hopi to endure for centuries, and their cultural legacy remains a vital part of the American Southwest. Principles of life and traditional culture of the Hopi people. The Hopi people, one of the oldest Native American tribes, have a deeply ingrained culture rooted in their history, traditions, and spiritual beliefs. Their way of life, values, and worldview reflect their close relationship with nature, community, and their ancestors. For centuries, the Hopi have managed to maintain a unique cultural identity despite external pressures from colonization and modernization. The Hopi worldview, rich with spiritual significance, is deeply tied to their land, rituals, and a strong ethical system that guides their actions and decisions. The Hopi value system, respect for nature, community, and ancestors. At the heart of Hopi culture is a value system built on principles of harmony, balance, and respect. These values shape every aspect of their lives, including their relationship with the natural environment, their sense of community, and their reverence for their ancestors. Respect for nature. The Hopi believe that all living things are interconnected, and they treat the environment with great reverence. Their agricultural practices are based on sustainable methods that reflect their respect for the earth. Traditionally, they have cultivated crops like corn, beans, and squash in the arid lands of the American Southwest, using techniques that conserve water and protect the soil. The Hopi see themselves as caretakers of the land rather than owners, understanding that their survival is intricately tied to the health of the environment. Their ceremonies and rituals often focus on praying for rain and fertility, reflecting their dependence on nature for sustenance. Community-centric living. For the Hopi, community is not merely a group of people living together. It is a spiritual and social unit that reflects the interconnectedness of individuals. Each person in the Hopi community has a role to play in maintaining balance and harmony. Cooperation, sharing, and collective decision-making are key aspects of Hopi society. Whether it is building homes, working the fields, or participating in ceremonies, the Hopi emphasize the importance of working together for the greater good. Elders hold a special place in the community, as they are the keepers of knowledge and tradition, and younger generations are expected to learn from them to preserve the cultural heritage. Reverence for ancestors. Ancestral worship and the honoring of past generations are fundamental to Hopi spiritual beliefs. They believe that their ancestors continue to guide and protect them through the spirit world. The Hopi regularly perform rituals to honor their forebears, seeking their wisdom and protection. The past is not seen as something distant, but as a continuous presence that influences their lives today. By living according to the principles and teachings of their ancestors, the Hopi ensure that they remain connected to the wisdom of their people. Traditional culture, rituals, customs, and arts. The Hopi have a rich cultural heritage that is expressed through a variety of traditions, including rituals, customs, and artistic expressions. These practices are not merely cultural activities, but are deeply tied to their spiritual beliefs and worldview. Through their rituals, the Hopi seek to maintain harmony with the natural and spiritual worlds. Ceremonies and rituals, central to Hopi life, are their complex and detailed ceremonial cycles, which are intimately connected with their agricultural calendar. The Hopi year is marked by numerous rituals, including planting, harvest, and rain ceremonies. The most famous of these is the Kachina ceremony, which honors spiritual beings known as Kachinas, who are believed to bring rain, fertility, and blessings to the Hopi people. During these ceremonies, Hopi men wear elaborate masks and costumes to embody the Kachinas and perform sacred dances that have been passed down through generations. These rituals are not merely performances, but are considered acts of prayer that help maintain the balance of the world. Hopi pottery. Pottery is one of the most recognized art forms in Hopi culture and is deeply symbolic. Hopi pottery is characterized by its fine craftsmanship, intricate designs, and use of natural pigments. Traditionally, Hopi women have been the primary potters, and the knowledge of pottery making is passed down from mother to daughter. The pottery often depicts elements of nature, such as clouds, birds, and plants, and is used in both everyday life and ceremonial contexts. Pottery making is seen as a spiritual act, with the potter imbuing each piece with prayers and blessings. Weaving and textiles. Weaving is another important art form in Hopi culture, particularly in the production of ceremonial garments. Hopi textiles are known for their intricate patterns and symbolic designs, which are often inspired by the natural world and spiritual beliefs. Traditional garments, such as kilts and shawls, are used in ceremonies and rituals, with each design holding specific meaning. Like pottery, weaving is considered a sacred practice, and the materials used are often gathered and prepared in a ritualistic manner. Hopi dance and music. Dance and music are essential components of Hopi rituals and celebrations. Folk dances, such as the butterfly dance and the snake dance, are performed to mark important events in the Hopi calendar, including harvest festivals and rain ceremonies. These dances are not only expressions of joy and celebration, but are also prayers for rain, fertility, and the well-being of the community. Music, particularly the use of drums and rattles, accompanies the dances and helps set the rhythm for the performers. The movements of the dancers are precise and deliberate, symbolizing the harmony that the Hopi seek with the natural and spiritual worlds. The role of language in Hopi culture. Language plays a critical role in preserving Hopi culture and history. The Hopi language, a Uto-Aztecan language, is not just a means of communication, but is also a repository of Hopi knowledge, traditions, and beliefs. It is through language that the Hopi pass down their stories, songs, and rituals from one generation to the next. Oral tradition. Much of Hopi knowledge is transmitted orally through stories, songs, and chants. Elders play a key role in this process, as they are the keepers of the tribe's history and wisdom. These oral traditions serve to educate younger generations about Hopi values, cosmology, and the proper ways of living in harmony with nature and community. Stories about creation, the Kachinas, and the Hopi migration are essential components of Hopi identity and worldview. Each story carries moral lessons that guide the behavior of individuals within the community. Language as cultural identity. The Hopi language is an essential part of Hopi identity, and efforts to preserve it are crucial for the survival of their culture. In recent years, the Hopi have faced challenges in maintaining their language, particularly as younger generations are exposed to English and other dominant languages. However, there are ongoing efforts to revitalize the Hopi language through language immersion programs and community initiatives. These efforts aim to ensure that future generations remain connected to their cultural heritage and that the Hopi worldview continues to be expressed through their native tongue. Linguistic connection to the spiritual world. The Hopi believe that their language has a direct connection to the spiritual world, and certain words and phrases are considered powerful prayers. In their rituals, the use of the Hopi language is essential, as it is believed to carry the prayers of the people to the Kachinas and other spiritual beings. The Hopi worldview, which emphasizes balance and harmony, is encoded in the structure and vocabulary of their language, making it a critical tool for maintaining their way of life. The preservation of Hopi culture. The Hopi people have faced many challenges throughout history, from European colonization to the pressures of modern society. Despite these challenges, they have managed to preserve their unique cultural identity, largely through their adherence to traditional values and practices. Their respect for nature, strong sense of community, and deep connection to their ancestors continue to guide their way of life. Through their rituals, arts, and language, the Hopi maintain a vibrant culture that reflects their worldview and spiritual beliefs. Efforts to preserve Hopi culture, particularly through language revitalization and the continuation of traditional practices, are essential for ensuring that future generations can carry forward the wisdom and knowledge of their ancestors. The Hopi people's enduring connection to their land, community, and spiritual world serves as a powerful example of resilience and the importance of cultural preservation in an ever-changing world. The importance of architecture and agriculture in the life of the Hopi people. The Hopi people, one of the Native American tribes of the southwestern United States, have a rich history that emphasizes the importance of a balanced relationship with the natural world. Two key elements that illustrate this relationship are their traditional architecture and agriculture. These aspects of Hopi life have not only shaped their physical surroundings, but also their cultural identity, rituals, and community practices. Architecture, the foundation of Hopi culture and community. Hopi architecture is deeply rooted in their understanding of the environment and their spiritual connection to the land. Their homes, most notably the kiva and the pueblo, stand as symbols of their adaptability to the challenging conditions of the desert environment, as well as their commitment to their cultural and religious practices. Kiva, the spiritual heart of the Hopi. The kiva is one of the most significant architectural structures for the Hopi, used primarily for ceremonial purposes. Traditionally, a kiva is a subterranean structure built underground to symbolize a return to the womb of the earth. This structure is used for a variety of religious ceremonies, including initiation rites and communal rituals that honor the Hopi gods, nature, and ancestors. The design of the kiva reflects deep religious meaning. The roof of the kiva is flush with the ground, and entry is typically made through a ladder descending into the chamber. The ladder itself is symbolic, representing a connection between the earth and the sky, between the physical and the spiritual worlds. Inside, the space is circular, which for the Hopi represents the cyclical nature of life, the universe, and the continuous process of creation and renewal. Kivas are places of deep cultural importance where religious leaders conduct sacred ceremonies, often tied to the agricultural cycles that the Hopi rely on for survival. This sacred connection between the kiva, the land, and the crops reinforces the idea that Hopi spirituality is intertwined with their natural environment. The kiva serves as a constant reminder of their ancestral connection to the land and their responsibility to care for it. Pueblo, the sustainable homes of the Hopi. Pueblos, another traditional architectural form of the Hopi, are multi-story houses made from natural materials such as stone, adobe, a mixture of clay and straw, and wooden beams. These structures are both functional and symbolic, serving as homes for families and extended clans, and reflecting the Hopi's understanding of the natural resources around them. Hopi pueblos are generally built on mesas, flat-topped hills, giving them a defensible position against invaders and providing a vantage point for observing the landscape. The decision to build these homes on mesas is both practical and symbolic, as the Hopi see the elevated land as a sacred space closer to the gods. The construction of pueblo houses demonstrates the Hopi's skill in using locally available materials. The adobe used in the walls acts as an insulator, keeping the homes cool in the hot desert days and warm during the cold nights. The thick walls are designed to withstand the harsh winds and extreme weather conditions of the southwestern desert, showcasing the Hopi's adaptability and ingenuity. Moreover, the layout of the pueblo homes mirrors the importance of community and family life within Hopi society. Houses are built close together, with shared courtyards where daily activities, such as food preparation and crafting, take place. This close proximity fosters a strong sense of communal living, where resources and responsibilities are shared among clan members. Additionally, the construction of these homes is often a communal effort, reinforcing the values of cooperation and mutual support that are central to Hopi culture. The spiritual significance of Pueblo architecture is also evident in the way these homes are aligned with the cardinal directions, which play an important role in Hopi cosmology. Each direction is associated with specific deities, colors, and elements, and the alignment of their homes reflects their desire to live in harmony with these forces of nature. Agriculture, the lifeblood of Hopi survival and spirituality. Agriculture is at the heart of Hopi society, shaping not only their diet and economy, but also their spiritual beliefs and rituals. The Hopi have developed a sophisticated farming system that allows them to grow crops in the arid, unpredictable climate of the southwestern United States. Their ability to cultivate food in such harsh conditions is a testament to their knowledge of the land and their respect for the natural world. Dry farming, a testament to Hopi ingenuity. One of the most remarkable aspects of Hopi agriculture is their method of dry farming. Unlike other farming techniques that rely on irrigation, dry farming involves planting crops in areas that receive minimal rainfall, often less than 10 inches annually. This method requires a deep understanding of the environment, including the soil, weather patterns, and water retention properties of the land. The Hopi primarily grow corn, beans, squash, and melons, crops that are well suited to the arid climate. Corn, in particular, holds a special place in Hopi culture, not only as a staple food, but also as a spiritual symbol of life and sustenance. The Hopi cultivate different varieties of corn, including blue, white, and yellow corn, each of which has its own ceremonial significance. To ensure the success of their crops, the Hopi plant their seeds deep in the ground, where moisture from the winter snow and occasional rain is retained. This technique allows the roots to access water that is not available on the surface, making it possible for the crops to survive the long, dry periods between rainfalls. Additionally, the Hopi practice companion planting, where crops like beans and squash are planted alongside corn. The beans provide nitrogen to the soil, enriching it for future crops, while the squash's broad leaves help retain moisture in the soil. The role of rituals in agriculture. For the Hopi, farming is not just a practical activity, but a deeply spiritual one. The success of their crops is believed to be directly influenced by their relationship with the spiritual world, and many of their religious ceremonies are tied to the agricultural cycle. One of the most important ceremonies is the Niman Kachina, or the home dance, which takes place in July, at the peak of the growing season. During this ceremony, Kachina dancers, who are believed to be the spirits of the ancestors, perform rituals to bring rain and ensure the fertility of the crops. The Kachina spirits are central figures in Hopi religion, representing natural forces like rain, clouds, and plants. By honoring these spirits through dance and offerings, the Hopi believe they are ensuring the well-being of their crops and, by extension, their entire community. In addition to the Kachina ceremonies, the Hopi also observe the Wuuchim, a winter solstice ceremony that marks the beginning of the new planting season. This ritual involves prayers, offerings, and symbolic acts that are meant to prepare the land and the people for the upcoming agricultural cycle. These ceremonies highlight the Hopi's deep connection to the cycles of nature and their belief that maintaining harmony with the natural world is essential for survival. Corn is not only a vital food source for the Hopi, but also a central symbol in their religious beliefs and practices. The Hopi creation story tells of how the gods gave corn to the first people as a gift of life, and it continues to be seen as a sacred offering. Corn is used in many religious rituals, from offerings to the gods to the making of cornmeal, which is sprinkled during ceremonies to ensure protection and blessings. Each variety of corn has a specific role in Hopi ceremonies. Blue corn, for example, is associated with strength and endurance and is often used in religious contexts. White corn, on the other hand, is considered pure and is used in offerings to the gods. This deep cultural association with corn emphasizes its role not just as a crop, but as a living symbol of the Hopi's connection to the earth and the divine. The importance of architecture and agriculture in the life of the Hopi people cannot be overstated. Their homes, from the spiritual kivas to the practical pueblos, are more than just physical structures. They are embodiments of their religious beliefs, their understanding of the environment, and their commitment to community. Similarly, their agricultural practices, particularly dry farming, reveal a profound knowledge of the land and a spiritual connection to the cycles of nature. Together, these two elements of Hopi life, architecture and agriculture, form the foundation of their cultural identity, ensuring their survival and spiritual fulfillment in a harsh and unforgiving environment. Through their careful stewardship of the land and their deep reverence for the natural world, the Hopi people continue to thrive, carrying forward traditions that have sustained them for centuries. Agriculture has long been the cornerstone of Hopi life, shaping their daily routines, cultural practices, and spiritual beliefs. For the Hopi people, farming is not merely a means of sustenance, but a way of life that connects them intimately with the earth, the seasons, and the spiritual world. Central to their agricultural practices are the cultivation of crops like corn, beans, and squash, known as the Three Sisters, which provide not only food but also serve as symbols of sustenance, resilience, and harmony with nature. Adaptive farming techniques in an arid environment. The Hopi people have thrived in the arid climate of the southwestern United States for centuries, developing farming techniques that reflect a deep understanding of their environment. With minimal rainfall and scarce water resources, they devised ingenious methods to cultivate their crops in harsh conditions. Their farming practices are a testament to their resourcefulness and intimate connection to the land. One of the key techniques employed by the Hopi is dry farming. This method involves planting crops in areas that naturally collect moisture, such as floodplains or low-lying areas where water from rare rains and snowmelt accumulates. Unlike conventional farming, which relies heavily on irrigation, dry farming makes use of the natural topography and moisture-retaining soils to support plant growth. This technique allows the Hopi to sustain their agriculture without the need for extensive artificial irrigation systems. Another important aspect of Hopi farming is their deep knowledge of planting depths. The Hopi plant their crops, especially corn, at great depths to access moisture stored deep in the soil. In some cases, seeds are planted as deep as 12 inches below the surface to reach the moisture needed for germination. This practice, passed down through generations, demonstrates the Hopi's intimate knowledge of their environment and their ability to adapt to the challenges posed by a desert climate. Moreover, the Hopi practice terracing, a technique where they build small stepped plots along hillsides. These terraces help slow down the flow of water during the rare but intense rainstorms, allowing water to be absorbed by the soil instead of running off. By creating these small terraces, the Hopi ensure that their crops receive the necessary moisture without relying on irrigation systems, thereby conserving precious water resources. The symbolic and spiritual importance of agriculture. For the Hopi people, agriculture is not just about growing food. It is deeply intertwined with their cultural and spiritual beliefs. The cultivation of corn, beans, and squash holds profound significance in Hopi cosmology and traditions. Corn, in particular, is viewed as a sacred gift from the Creator and is often referred to as the mother of the Hopi people. Corn plays a central role in Hopi ceremonies and rituals, symbolizing life, growth, and renewal. In the Hopi worldview, the act of planting and tending to crops is a sacred duty that connects them to the spiritual realm. The agricultural cycle mirrors the cycle of life, with planting, growth, harvest, and dormancy representing the stages of human existence. The Hopi believe that by caring for the land and their crops, they are fulfilling their obligations to the Creator and maintaining harmony with the natural world. One of the most important ceremonies associated with agriculture is the Niman Kachina ceremony, also known as the home dance. Held in late July, this ceremony marks the end of the growing season and expresses gratitude for the crops that have been nurtured throughout the year. During the Niman Kachina, Hopi dancers don traditional masks and costumes, embodying the spirits of their ancestors and the natural elements. These ceremonial dances are performed to invoke rain, fertility, and a bountiful harvest, underscoring the spiritual connection between the Hopi people, their crops, and the environment. In addition to the Niman Kachina, other agricultural rituals are performed throughout the year to ensure the success of the crops. For example, the planting of corn is often accompanied by prayers and offerings to the earth, sky, and water spirits, seeking their blessings for a successful growing season. These rituals are not merely symbolic, but are believed to have real-world effects on the health and vitality of the crops. The Hopi maintain that their agricultural success is dependent on their ability to live in balance with the natural world and the spiritual forces that govern it. Agricultural knowledge passed through generations. The knowledge of how to cultivate crops in such a challenging environment has been passed down through countless generations of Hopi farmers. This agricultural wisdom is considered sacred, and it is shared within families and the community through oral tradition, storytelling, and hands-on learning. Children are often introduced to farming at an early age, participating in planting, weeding, and harvesting alongside their parents and elders. In this way, they learn not only the practical skills needed to grow crops, but also the cultural and spiritual importance of agriculture in Hopi life. The Hopi also maintain a strong sense of communal farming, where families and clans work together to plant and harvest crops. This collective approach not only ensures that there is enough food for everyone, but also reinforces the bonds of community and cooperation that are central to Hopi society. In times of drought or poor harvests, the Hopi rely on each other for support, sharing food and resources to ensure that everyone in the community is taken care of. This communal approach to agriculture reflects the Hopi value system, which prioritizes mutual aid, respect for others, and a deep connection to the land. Despite the long-standing success of their agricultural practices, the Hopi face significant challenges in the modern era. Climate change, over-extraction of water resources, and land encroachment all threaten the sustainability of their traditional farming methods. With rainfall becoming increasingly unpredictable and water sources dwindling, the Hopi must continue to adapt their agricultural practices to survive in an ever-changing environment. However, the resilience of the Hopi people and their deep connection to the land give them hope for the future. Many Hopi farmers are working to preserve their traditional knowledge while also exploring new techniques to improve crop yields and conserve water. For example, some farmers are experimenting with drought-resistant crop varieties and exploring sustainable irrigation methods that align with their cultural values. These efforts represent a blend of ancient wisdom and modern innovation, ensuring that Hopi agriculture remains a vital part of their culture for generations to come. In recent years, there has also been a renewed interest in promoting traditional Hopi agriculture among younger generations. Schools and community organizations have implemented programs to teach children about dry farming techniques, the cultural significance of crops like corn, and the importance of sustainable agriculture. By reconnecting younger Hopi with their agricultural heritage, these programs aim to ensure the continuation of traditional farming practices and the values they represent. Agriculture is much more than an economic activity for the Hopi people. It is the foundation of their way of life, their identity, and their spirituality. Through farming, the Hopi maintain their connection to the earth, the elements, and the spiritual forces that guide their lives. The act of planting, tending, and harvesting crops is not simply a means of survival, but a profound expression of gratitude and respect for the land and its bounty. As the Hopi continue to face modern challenges, their agricultural practices stand as a symbol of resilience and adaptability. By preserving their traditional farming techniques and integrating new methods, the Hopi ensure that their cultural and spiritual ties to the land remain strong. In a world where the environment is increasingly at risk, the Hopi people offer a powerful example of how agriculture can serve as a bridge between humanity and nature, sustaining both body and spirit in harmony with the earth. The Hopi people, a Native American community residing in the northeastern region of Arizona, represent one of the oldest and most resilient cultures in North America. For centuries, they have inhabited the arid mesas of the Colorado Plateau, developing an intricate system of agriculture and architecture that harmonizes with their environment. These two pillars, architecture and agriculture, are not merely practical for survival, but deeply intertwined with their cultural identity, spirituality, and traditions. The landscape they inhabit has shaped their way of life, and in turn their practices in farming and building have molded their relationship with the land, creating a bond that goes beyond mere subsistence. This connection is central to their collective identity and continues to play a vital role in preserving the Hopi way of life. The architecture of the Hopi people is one of the most distinct aspects of their culture, revealing much about their values and worldview. Traditional Hopi dwellings, particularly the Pueblo and Kiva, are examples of how architecture is designed to serve both the practical needs and spiritual life of the community. The Pueblo, a multi-storied dwelling built from stone or adobe, is a hallmark of Hopi architecture. Pueblo villages are often constructed on mesa tops, offering protection from external threats while fostering a close-knit community. The dwellings are constructed with careful attention to the environment, utilizing natural materials such as stone, wood, and adobe bricks made from a mixture of clay and straw. This reflects the Hopi's deep respect for nature, as they utilize what is available to them in a sustainable manner. The multi-tiered structure of the Pueblo allows for multiple generations to live together, embodying the Hopi value of communal living and intergenerational support. Moreover, Kiva structures, which are underground ceremonial rooms, play a central role in Hopi spiritual life. Kivas are not simply architectural wonders, they are symbolic representations of the Sipapu, the whole from which the Hopi believe their ancestors emerged into this world. These subterranean chambers are used for religious rituals, communal gatherings, and decision-making processes, reinforcing the Hopi belief that spiritual and social life must be interconnected. The circular form of the kiva, its isolation from the rest of the village, and its sacred entrance reflect the Hopi's profound respect for the cyclical nature of life, the earth, and their spiritual origins. The architecture of the Hopi is also notable for its resistance to change in the face of external influences. Despite centuries of colonization and cultural assimilation pressures, the Hopi have maintained their traditional building methods. This resilience is a testament to their strong cultural identity, as architecture is not simply a means of shelter, but a reflection of their worldview. Each element of their buildings carries meaning, from the materials used to the positioning of windows and doors, all designed to maintain harmony with the surrounding environment. Thus, Hopi architecture is a living testament to their deep connection with the land, spirituality, and communal values. If architecture represents the physical manifestation of the Hopi way of life, then agriculture is its spiritual sustenance. The Hopi have long relied on farming as their primary means of survival, developing highly sophisticated techniques to cultivate crops in one of the most challenging environments in the United States. The arid climate of the Hopi mesas receives minimal rainfall, and the soil quality is often poor. Yet, the Hopi have mastered the art of dry farming, which allows them to grow crops without the need for irrigation. Corn, the staple crop of the Hopi, holds immense cultural and spiritual significance. Corn is more than just a food source. It is a symbol of life, sustenance, and resilience. The Hopi believe that corn was given to them by the Creator, and its cultivation is tied to their creation story. As such, the growing and harvesting of corn are imbued with ritual and prayer, connecting the people to their ancestors and the natural world. Different varieties of corn, particularly blue corn, are grown by the Hopi, each used for specific purposes in both daily life and religious ceremonies. The Hopi's agricultural practices reflect their deep understanding of their environment and their resourcefulness in adapting to its harsh conditions. Terraced farming is a common technique used by the Hopi to maximize water retention and soil fertility. By creating small terraces on the slopes of the mesas, the Hopi can capture and store rainwater, which is essential for crop growth. This technique, combined with the use of waffle gardens, small depressions in the earth that capture water, enables the Hopi to make the most of the limited moisture available in their region. In addition to corn, the Hopi grow beans, squash, and melons, each playing a role in their diet and cultural practices. The combination of these crops, known as the Three Sisters, forms the foundation of the Hopi agricultural system. These plants are often grown together in the same field, as they complement each other. The corn provides a structure for the beans to climb, the beans enrich the soil with nitrogen, and the squash leaves spread across the ground, preventing the growth of weeds and retaining moisture in the soil. This symbiotic relationship between the plants mirrors the Hopi's broader view of the interconnectedness of life and the importance of cooperation and balance in both nature and society. Agriculture also has a deep spiritual dimension for the Hopi. Planting and harvesting are accompanied by ceremonies and prayers, reflecting the belief that their survival depends on maintaining a respectful and reciprocal relationship with the earth. The Hopi see themselves as caretakers of the land, and they approach farming with a sense of responsibility and humility. This relationship with the land is reflected in their seasonal festivals, such as the Pawamua bean dance and the Niman Kachina home dance, which mark important stages in the agricultural cycle and celebrate the connection between the Hopi people and the spirits that guide them. The symbiotic relationship between architecture and agriculture. What makes the Hopi unique is not just their individual practices in architecture and agriculture, but the way these two elements come together to form a holistic worldview. The Pueblo villages, perched atop mesas, provide not only protection and shelter, but also a vantage point to oversee the fields below, reinforcing the Hopi's connection to their land. From their dwellings, the Hopi can observe the changes in the environment, monitor the growth of their crops, and remain attuned to the natural rhythms that guide their agricultural practices. The same principles of sustainability and respect for the environment that govern their architecture are also applied to their agriculture. Just as the Hopi build their homes to blend with the natural landscape and make use of locally sourced materials, they cultivate their crops in a way that minimizes the impact on the land. Both practices are governed by the concept of tu-wakatsi, meaning life out of balance, which reflects the Hopi belief that harmony must be maintained between all living things, the earth, and the spiritual forces that guide their lives. This holistic approach to life, in which architecture, agriculture, and spirituality are all interconnected, has allowed the Hopi to survive and thrive in an environment that many would consider inhospitable. The Hopi are a unique community with a rich culture and way of life, where architecture and agriculture play essential roles in maintaining their identity and livelihood. Their ability to create sustainable living spaces that reflect their spiritual beliefs, combined with their mastery of farming in an arid landscape, has ensured their survival for centuries. These practices are not just means of survival, but are deeply embedded in their cultural identity, shaping their worldview and guiding their daily lives. Through their resilience and resourcefulness, the Hopi continue to preserve their traditions and maintain a harmonious relationship with the land they call home, ensuring that their culture remains vibrant and enduring for future generations.